करके हवा मारना सारा स्टार्ट करा देते हैं बस। राज भाई सब ठीक है?
Greetings of the day. Welcome in the third session for the MMPC3 Business Environment session. Today I'll be covering block 3 in continuation of previous two blocks. This unit contains 2 units, surprisingly. But when we go through these 2 units, these 2 units will be covering much aspects, including one, the new economic policy, covering continuation of post-1991 activities that we discussed in the earlier session, as well as certain new development, new initiatives taken by the government to strengthen the business environment. And then there will be unit number 9, considering the financial sector and fiscal sector reforms. Specifically in unit 8, as you can see, the year 1991 is one of the landmark years in Indian economic history. Reason? There were good number of economic reforms, and reason for them may be some international and domestic reasons we will be discussing in subsequent sections. This new economic policy, that is also called as NEP of 1991, it is also considered as a policy of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And currently the acronym for this LPG. This policy was from license rush to liberalization, from nationalization to privatization, and the factors that lead to this are considered as an international and domestic one. As far as the international factor is concerned, I hope you can recall there was a disintegration of former USSR, that is Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and there was an outbreak of Gulf War. This resulted into declining Indian exports on one hand and rise in crude oil prices along with the fall in international prices on the other hand. So a crisis that is called as balance of payments and falling foreign exchange and widening of trade deficit. As far as domestic factor is concerned, so you can see that around that time was a huge fiscal deficit, and inflation further fueled the problem. So the fiscal deficit reaches the height of 8.4% in 1990 to 91, and the inflation rate was in double digit. I hope you can recall. In the single digit, it's considered as a positive sign, whereas when it reaches into double digit or it is in the multiple form, then it's a risky affair. You need to trigger some action in that aspect. Then, so that India's foreign exchange reserve were fast depleting, and there was not sufficient, just sufficient for only 3 weeks of imports. So India was in a precarious situation of default and debt. So in order to address this situation, India approached International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, for grants and assistance, which necessitated certain changes in the economic system. So definitely, they need to safeguard their funds. They need to ensure that if we are paying someone, our funds should be safe enough. So for that purpose, Policy makers, on the other hand, was on the same situation. They were considering some trigger point to change something with the pace of the global scenario. So they find it convenient, somehow convenient, to change their policy. And for these changes, they consider the global scenario, what other economies are considering. So including one, the East Asian economies and how they are opening, how they are operating, how they are performing in the global scenario. So that they bring about those changes, and it resulted into the introduction of economic reforms in India. So these reforms are of two aspects. One is called as macroeconomic stabilization measures, and another one is structural adjustment reforms. So, as far as the macroeconomic measures are concerned, there are tax reforms, the balance of payment reforms, monetary policy reforms, and also to control the inflation as well. As far as the structural adjustment reforms are concerned, there was a new industrial policy, there was reform in the banking sector, and definitely there was a phasing out of subsidies, disinvestment, and others. So, because this was somehow bringing the global competition at par, and so far, as per the interaction with the IMF regarding their lending policies also. So both these changes led to liberalization processes in the form of delicensing, de-reservation, and deregulation, increasing the role of private sector in the functioning of economy, and disinvestment connotes privatization. Further changes in the trade policies like reducing the rate of duties and tariffs made trade attractive. The flow of FDI and integration with world economy or globalization, our orientation shifted from inward-looking policy to outward-looking policy. Then the combination of this LPG assured new era of economic history in India. GDP numbers increased, industrial activities gained momentum, services sector bloomed, and the presence of India on a global platform was being recognized. But the negative aspect, we should not ignore it. Around that, there was a scenario of jobless growth, neglect of the agriculture sector, and unskilled labor. The rise in income and wealth inequalities, and many others were also realities. So, under new economic policy, when we go in the individual sector or the liberalization, so it allows liberal rules reforms are also other. In this industry policy of 1991, several measures were undertaken to liberalize the economy, including allowing more sectors to be operated by the private sectors. So, like the key points are 18 industries related to security concern, environmental hazard, chemical, white, or luxury goods, etc., were kept under the purview of compulsory licensing, reduced only to two industries, that is, one related to atomic energy and second related to railways. Requirement of licensing for setting off industries within 25 kilometers of periphery of cities having a population of more than 10 lakh for a certain class of industries were removed. To boost and invite FDI in high priority industries, it was decided to provide approval of FDI up to 51% in 30 industry like electrical equipment, metallurgical industries, etc. To inject technological dynamism in the Indian industry, the government provided automatic approval for technology agreements related to high priority industry with specific parameters. And Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act (MRTP) 1969 was repealed. And the sixth point is SIC industries were referred to Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, that is called as BIFR, for the formulation of revival rehabilitation schemes. The privatization composition of LPG. So, in privatization in broader sense means a change of ownership from the public sector to the private sector, and the introduction of private management and control in the public sector companies, including the fund as well. So, These measures are namely ownership, organization, operational are broad measures for privatization. As far as the ownership measures are concerned, the ownership of public enterprises fully or partially is transferred to the private sector. And this ownership measure included total denationalization, joint venture, liquidation, and workers' cooperative format. As far as the total denationalization means, 100% transfer of ownership to private enterprises to the private sector. A joint venture ranges from 25%, 51%, and 74% of public enterprise to private entity. And as far as the liquidation is concerned, it's sale of assets to a person who may use them for the same purpose or some other purpose. Then workers' cooperative is a special form of decentralization whereby the ownership of enterprises transferred to workers who may form a cooperative to run the enterprises. The organizational measures are imposed to limit state control. These measures include the formation of holding company structure. You can see a couple of good number of companies converted into limited companies, and certain other modifications were also considered in this aspect. As far as the accumulated losses are concerned, they're written off, and capital composition is rationalized in respect to debt equity ratio in financial restructuring. In basic restructuring, the public sector shed off some of its inactive activities, which are taken up by ancillaries or small scale units. Operational measures aim to improve the overall functioning of the economy, even if fully denationalized has not been undertaken. Operational measures include granting autonomy to public enterprises, provision of incentives to the employees, freedom to buy inputs from the market, development of proper investment criteria, permission to raise resources from capital market for expansion, etc. Well, as far as globalization is concerned, it is integration of domestic economy with the rest of the world, and it connotes the reduction of trade barriers to permit free trade, free flow of capital, technology, and labor. They are under categories as well. First, reduction of import duties. It can be connected. Previously, there was import duties on items from ranging from 200 to 3%, which was progressively in a systematic manner. Reaches to 35% around 2001 to 2002, and the medium tariff rate was brought down to 25% in 2003 and 4. Besides reducing import duties, the government attempted to dismantle the quantitative restrictions on imports and exports. In Import-Export Policy of 1990, the list of open general license (OGL) was expanded to facilitate easy access to import of items. The number of capital goods was expanded from 12612 to 1343 under OGL. A scheme of star trading houses was introduced for exporters with an average annual net foreign exchange earning of rupees 75 crores in the preceding 3 licensing systems. Then encouragement of foreign investment. Automatic approval for up to 51% in higher priority industries. Further, in 1996, the new list of industry was approved, whereby joint ventures with up to 74% foreign equity would be cleared automatically. 8% as per the prevailing conditions into 2021. Up to 100% FDI through automatic route is permitted in major subsectors of mining, broadcasting, airports, industrial parks, telecom services, pharmaceuticals, single brand retail trading, textile and garments, thermal power, tourism and hospitality, white label ATM operations and insurance intermediaries, etc. So the need is felt for looking at recent policy and changes introduced in the economy and try to see how these policies and programs are shaping the economic landscape of the country. Subsequent to 1991, there was a certain modification as well in the form of that we regarded as new economic policy of 2014. It brings about foreign trade policy (FTP) of 2015 to 2020. So FTP is formulated every 5 years, and currently we are under the regime of 2015-20 regime. And the foreign trade policy which is enforced, the major features of this export from India scheme is first, we can categorize as merchandise export from India scheme. So the notified goods which are exported to notified markets would be rewarded as realized free or board FOB value of exports. Countries of export grouped into category 1, category A, B, C. Category A are traditional market, including USA, Canada, European, and others. Whereas country B, the category B or country B are emerging and focus market, like Africa, Latin America, Mexico, Turkey, West Asian countries, ASEAN countries, Japan, China, and others. Whereas country C, it includes 70 countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, etc. Global support has been granted to fruits, flowers, vegetable, tea, coffee, spices, processed foods, marine products, handicrafts, furniture, etc. New 852 tariff lines that fit in the product criteria but were not receiving support in early foreign trade policy have been extended. This support, and these include lines from food, vegetable, ayush, herbal products, paper products, etc. As far as that was the regarding product, then there is another component that is called service exports from India scheme. So in this sector, there was a specific emphasis on promoting activities of providing service providers or supporting service providers who are working from India and supporting the global market. Here, service exports from India scheme have replaced the old served from India scheme, that is SFIS, and incentives ranging from 3 to 5% are provided to the exporters of service who are providing services from India to the various organizations situated outside India. The rate of incentives under SEIS is computed on the net foreign exchange earned. The business services, communication services, construction-related engineering services, education services, environmental health-related services, recreation services are covered under 5% rate. Services like hotel, restaurants, and other services attract 3% rate. The rewards earned in this scheme is in the form of duty credit scripts and are freely transferable and can be used for all type of goods and services debits on procurement of services or goods. Well, all the benefits of MEIS and SEIS are also extended to special economic zones. All duty scripts issued under MEIS and SEIS schemes and the goods imported against these scripts are fully transferable, and the scripts issued under export from India can be used for payment of customs duty, excise duty, and payment of service tax. A new concept of status holder has been introduced in foreign trade policy under 2015 to 2020. Business leaders who are prominent in the arena of foreign trade and have successfully contributed to the country's foreign trade would be termed recognized as status holders. These status holders would be given special treatment and privileges to facilitate their trade transactions. Then, beyond this, in current scenario, we are familiar with some of the concepts like Make in India. So, in order to boost to Make in India, towards encouraging domestic manufacturing and promoting brand India, several measures have been introduced under FTB. So, under MEIS scheme, higher rewards will be provided for those exports items which has high domestic content and value addition. Under the Export Promotion Capital Goods EPCG scheme, the specific export obligation has been reduced to 75% in case of capital goods are procured from indigenous manufacturers. As far as ease of doing business is concerned, so this is an interesting aspect. There are regular reports like India stands this state, this position in case of ease of doing business. So online filing of documents or applications, I hope you can recall in the previous session, we discussed about various states, how they facilitate their business environment, what best they have done to facilitate the business activity in their place. So ease of doing business comes under those umbrella as well. So this is basically reducing paperwork, promoting more and more activity on the online mode, avoiding more office work, something like that. So ease of doing business includes online filing of documents or application has been made, whereby various applications by exporters, importers can be filed online. Further, there is no need for hard copies of application and specified documents, as well as lending documents of export consignments as proof for the notified market can be digitally uploaded. Now, we all connected or hear about this concept of GST, goods and service tax. So one of the major initiatives reforms in the Indian tax system was introduction of GST Act in 2017, which came into effect from 1st July 2017. It is basically a comprehensive multi-stage destination-based tax that is levied on every value addition. Prior to GST, there was a plethora of tax levied by the central or state governments, which leads to cascading effect of the taxes. And GST has subsumed a large number of taxes and intended to simplify the structure of indirect taxes. At present, the GST types are namely: first is that is called as IGST, it is Integrated Goods and Service Tax. Second is State Goods and Service Tax, that is SGST. Third is Central Goods and Service Tax, CGST, and the last is Union Territory Goods and Service Tax, UTGST. So you can see the in the bills you receive, the pakka bill you receive from any shop. So you can see the breakup in the form of SGST, CGST, or whatsoever it is. So you can connect it correctly over there. The major benefits that accrued from GST are the creation of a unified common national market for India, giving a boost to foreign investment, and the Make in India program. Mitigations of cascading of taxes, harmonization of tax laws and procedure, simpler tax regime, increase in ease of doing business, reduction in compliance cost. For consumers, benefits are in the form of reduction of prices of goods and transparency in the fixation of final prices of the goods. Now, this is the point. This is the scheme. I hope you have heard about it. That is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So previously, the population, we all remember the population of India is growing at pace, but at the same time, we can see that the good number of population or a large number of Indian citizens are not having access to the banking system. So how they are managing their money, how they are getting funds out of it, how their finances are managed. It was a definitely a typical problem. So to widen the scope of financial inclusion in the economy and to avoid the leakage, to check the leakage, the ultimate goal of inclusive growth, to bring the backward and marginalized citizens of the country under the umbrella of institutional sources of finance in the whole of the financial inclusion. This program was launched on 15th of August 2014. The mission was launched with the objective of making financial products and services approachable to the common citizens of the country at the least cost possible, with the extensive use of technology to expand the coverage of financial inclusion, basic banking services to unbanked citizens. That was the target, unbanked citizens in any bank branch or business correspondent with zero balance and zero charges, providing debit cards and free accident insurance coverage of up rupees 2 lakh. There are six pillars in the graphics that is visible to you, issued by Ministry of Finance. So these six pillars include universal access to the banking services, creation of credit guarantee fund, financial literacy program, pension scheme for the unorganized sector, basic saving bank account with overdraft facility of rupees 10,000 to every household. Previously, this was 5,000, rupees 5,000, which was enhanced to the rupees 10,000. Then micro insurance scheme. Then expenditure, expediting the program of financial literacy in the form of spreading information about the usage of ATMs, promotion of savings, use of banking services for insurance and pension, creation of credit guarantee fund to save the banks from defaults, to provide insurance covers with both accident insurance up to 1 lakh, which was enhanced to 2 lakh in new PMJDY accounts open after 28th 8 2018, and life insurance of rupees 30,000, and to provide a safety net to the workers working in the unorganized sector through a pension scheme. So there are certain steps regarding who can open, when interest rate deposit, what are the like no minimum balances required, easy transfer money across India. After satisfactory operation of the account for 6 months, overdraft facilities to be permitted. Some accidental insurance cover, rupee debit card it must be used within 40 to 5 days. So these are the certain key features of this scheme. Then PMJDY account can be used for direct benefit transfer scheme, that is called a DBT, for the social security scheme, namely Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana (PMFY), Atal Pension Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana (PMJJBY), and Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana (PMSBY). Post 2018, the focus on of PMJDY has shifted from every household to every person. As on the reports as on April 2021, the total number of PMJDY accounts stood around 42.25 crore, and these accounts have around deposit of 145,408.07 crore, and they have got rupee cards of 30.93 crores were issued accordingly. Further, Jandhan Darshaka app was also launched to provide necessary information related to banking services like locating ATM, bank branches, etc. As per as the recent figure of 16th November 2022, the total number of beneficiaries in rural, semi-urban, and central bank branches, including public sector bank, regional banks, private sector banks, is around 31.66 crores. And the number of beneficiaries at urban metro centers, bank branches, one is rural and urban sector is 15.79 crores. In the split up of number of rural urban female beneficiaries, it is 26.34 crores, and majority of them is represented in public sector banks. Number of total beneficiaries 47.45 crores. You can imagine the number. And the total deposit in accounts 177,269.42 crores. So imagine, you can see the increase here. And accordingly, number of rupee debit card issued to the beneficiaries 32.38 crores. Then there is a Mudra scheme for MSME to revitalize them and meet the credit need of non-corporate, non-farm, micro and small enterprises. Prime Minister Mudra Yojana (PMMY) was launched in 2015, and these micro enterprises play an important role in the labor service country like India. And these enterprises are labor intensive, need less credit, cater to local economic needs, and plays a supplementary role to the medium and large industries. However, they reel under a problem of deficiency of finance at times, depend upon non-institutional sources of finance like money lenders. So to expand the ambit of the institutional sources of finance to this sector, PMY was launched. Mudra stands for Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency, and provided loans up to rupees 10 lakh to eligible enterprises. Mudra is a wholly owned subsidiary of Small Industries Development Bank, that is SIDBI, with an authorized capital of 1,000 crore and 750 crore of paid-up capital. Micro enterprises can borrow term loans or overdraft facility without any need of collateral processing fee, and this scheme does not prescribe any minimum amount of loan. Small loans can be taken. Mudra scheme has been three categories, namely Shishu, Kishore, and Tarun, and accordingly, the range is granted over there. Entrepreneurs can take a loan for the commercial vehicle, plant and machinery, business loans, and working capital in the financial year 2020-21. 4,337,003 PMMI loans were sanctioned. Then there's another flagship scheme that is called Swachh Bharat Mission. So on 2nd October 2014, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji launched Swachh Bharat Mission scheme or Clean India scheme. More than half of the Indian population, around 55 crores, practiced open defecation. Nearly 2.3 billion people globally lacked basic sanitation services. Beneficiaries were provided with an incentive of rupees 12,000 for the construction of individual household latrines, and the financial burden was shared between central and state in the ratio of 60 to 40. Whereas in special category states, this ratio was 90 to 10, 90 to 10. And another aspect, there was a concept of not just financial incentives, but it was a capacity building and aims to instilling behavior change among communities and individuals. Since its inception, the percentage of fund utilization under this scheme has been more than 95%. Nearly 10 crore toilets have been built in 2014 and in 711 districts. Total 711 districts declared as a free from open defecations. They call as ODF districts. Next flagship scheme you can see is Make in India. So PM in September 2014 launched a must-have initiative of Make in India to create a conducive environment and encourages investment not only domestic but foreign also, and build a network of modern and efficient infrastructure. This program has three objectives. First, to boost the manufacturing sector and increase the growth rate of this sector to 12 to 14% per annum. Second, to make the manufacturing sector one of the largest employment provider sector and to create around 100 million additional manufacturing jobs by 2022. To increase the share of manufacturing up to 25% by 2025, this scheme focuses on 25 sectors, that is automobiles, aviation, chemical, construction, defense manufacturing, electronic system, food processing, leather, mining, pharma, railways, tourism, renewable energy, etc. And coincidentally, we can witness from the point number 3, some of the industries, including pharma industry, appears to pharma industry and other automobile industries and electronic system industry, has paid positively during the time of Corona pandemic. Some of the major initiatives under Make in India is Ministry of Defense reserved 26 items. I think this number is increased. That will be only procured from the local suppliers. Interestingly, then this NLC announced to set up 500 megawatt solar power plant in Odisha with the cost of rupees 3,000 crore. FDI in the defense sector increased to 75% under the automatic route, 100% FDI in the automatic route for the construction and specified rail infrastructure products. Next is Stand Up India. So far, you can see the schemes that are covering almost all the sections of the society. So now there is another scheme that is targeting the women and the marginalized section of the society, that is SC and ST individuals, into the net of financial inclusion. And this scheme is called as Stand Up India, which was launched in 2016. Under this scheme, a composite bank loan offering from rupees 10 lakh and rupees to 1 crore is provided for setting up greenfield enterprises to be advanced to at least one SC/ST borrower and at least one woman borrower per bank per branch. That was an interesting aspect. The enterprises may be in the manufacturing, services, trading sector, or activities allied to agriculture like pisciculture, beekeeping, poultry, etc. To provide collateral-free coverage, Government of India has set up a credit guarantee fund for Stand Up India. The loan needs to be paid back in 7 years, with 18 months of the maximum mortality period. Nearly rupees 26,000 crore has been sanctioned till year 2021. And there is another scheme, interesting scheme, that is called PM Ujjwala scheme. This is a scheme was to aim the environment consciousness on one hand, as well as looking for the health of the rural women who are dependent on the oil-based fuel for their food or coal-based fuel for their food making processes. So, to provide clean and efficient liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) to rural India, PM Modi launched PM Ujjwala Yojana in 2016. This scheme aimed at providing 5 crore LPG connections to women of below poverty line across India. And this scheme provides financial support of rupees 600 for each LPG connection, which include components of the gas connection like cylinder, stove, pressure, and financial burden is bear by the central government. Then there is a Skill India or Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, that is PMKVY. Under Ministry, this is under the umbrella of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, that is MSDE. It was launched in 2015 with a target of providing industry relevant skill training and financial and placement assistance to over 10 million youth between 2016 to 2020. And there are three agencies which are playing prominent role in this. One is National Skill Development Authority, that is NSDA. Another one is National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. And another one is Directorate General of Training. NSDA is tasked with the implementation of National Skill Qualification Framework (NSQF) and strengthening State Skill Development Mission (SSDMs). NSDC is entrusted with the implementation of PMKVY and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Kendras, while DGT is tasked with the establishment and monitoring of Industrial Training Institute that we call as ITIs. Then let's explore about New Economic Policy 2020. The key point is Atmanirbhar Bharat. We all connect in the concept of Corona pandemic during 2020. So this Corona pandemic had a devastating effect on all the economies of the world, be it either big or small, developed or underdeveloped. It had a deep impact on the economic growth and the income and employment. Uh, so they were so far affected. It made the policymakers rethink the way the economic system works. It was at this juncture that Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, while announcing an economic package related to pandemic, echoed the slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat in May 2020. Though the different versions of Atmanirbhar Bharat was already part and parcel of the Indian planning processes since 1976, we should remember this. And even some mentions can be found in the 10th five-year plan. Also, in 2020, Atmanirbhar Bharat was declared as Oxford Hindi Word of the Year as well. This should not be only understood as self-reliant only. It is frowned upon by the global economy. It connotes policies that aim towards promoting resilience, efficiency, and equity. And PM again in 2021 emphasized that the core of the slogan is about the creation of values, wealth, and ethos not only India but for the larger humanity as well. Till now, three packages has been given under this scheme. The main constituents of Atmanirbhar Bharat are demand, demography, economy, infrastructure system. The government of India, via these packages, has tried to expand the helping hand to almost every sector of the economy, be it micro, small, medium enterprises, farmer, rural labor, migrants, or the empowerment of the poor, marginal sector of the society, women, almost every aspect, including skilling as well. So they are covering almost every aspect. In MSME, the MSMEs were redefined in terms of their definition, and they were redefined on the basis of investment in plant and machinery and wallet turnover as well. The collateral loans were given, so all these ranges were revised accordingly. Interestingly, so far in earlier policies, earlier schemes, one of the sector that was altogether ignored or somehow not given that much of attention as it was required, it was left to its own mercy. That was the agriculture sector. In this policy, the agriculture and allied sector was also given attention, due attention. And one of the reasons was that it was assumed that India is a mixed economy. We depend on the almost every sector. Service sector play its own role. Industrial sector also play its role. The agriculture sector, which was relatively silent due to reaching to the saturation level, somehow to the saturation level, need attention also. There was a concept that we need to go for the diversification of the agriculture activities, mixed cropping, and variety of things need to be done to cover the growing population and to complete the global scenario. So to develop infrastructure in the agriculture sector, a corpus amounting to 1 lakh crore to be set up at aggregation points and farm gate. Farm gate is a place where both farmers and buyers can interact directly with one another. For crop loan requirements, an additional fund of rupees 30,000 crore is allocated and it will be disbursed via the National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD, to RRBs or regional cooperative banks. To support the fishermen and fisheries, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana (PMMSY) was launched. Under this scheme, total rupees 20,000 crore has been allocated for aquaculture, inland fisheries, and marine, along with development of infrastructure like cold chain and fishing harbors. To help the dairy industry, an animal husbandry infrastructure development fund of rupees 15,000 crore was set up to control the foot and mouth disease. It's a very cruel disease in case of cattle. The brucellosis, a national animal disease control program, was launched with an outlay of rupees 13,000 crores for achieving universal vaccination of cattle, buffalo, goat, pigs, and sheep. And rupees 500 crore has been extended for beekeeping initiatives. So this was something new attention as well. The government has decided to amend the Essential Commodity Act 1955 to deregulate food items like edible oil, onion, pulses, potatoes, and oilseeds to attract investment in this sector. There was also kind attention given to migrant laborers or migrant workers. That was a scenario that was faced during the corona pandemic when these migrant workers lost their job and there was a huge crisis over that time. So they were given one nation, one card scheme has been launched whereby migrants can access the public distribution system from anywhere. So because these migrant laborers have to move from their working places in the form of food items because they don't have access to the PDA system. The ration card was not at that place where they were working. So that one nation, one card helped them to access the public PDA system from anywhere in the country. Then 5 kg of grain per person and 1 kg of chana per family per month, considering the nutritional value. For 2 months, was given to migrant workers who are not beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act, ration card or state card. It is estimated it will benefit. It would have benefited around 8 crore migrants. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for providing living facilities and affordable price to migrant laborers, urban poor, and rupees 5,000 crore trade facility to street vendors, which are the most affected segment of the population due to ongoing pandemic. Under this facility, the bank facility of initial working capital up to rupees 10,000 for each enterprise was extended. Then civil aviation and defense sector. So airports with world-class infrastructure to be built through public-private partnership. And the Airport Authority of India has initially awarded 3 airports of Ahmedabad, Lucknow, and Mangalore for operation and maintenance on the PPP basis. FDI limit in defense manufacturing increased to 74% from previously 49% under automatic route. And reservation of Indian vendors in some categories like production agency, design and development, etc. And further FDI of more than 40% is not allowed. The Ministry of Defense will bring out the list of items on which the ban of import of the certain items shall be announced. Then Mission Raksha Gyan Shakti launched to promote innovation and technology development. As far as the energy is concerned, to improve the functioning and efficiency of power sector, it was decided to privatize power department utilization in territories. To ensure a progressive reduction in cross subsidies in sector, it was decided to amend the Electricity Act 2003. Rupees 118,273 crore worth of loans have been sanctioned to 17 states UTs for liquidity injection for discounts. As far as social sector is concerned, Manregas have been given an additional allocation of rupees 40,000 crore to provide impetus to rural demand and development. To further strengthen and enhance technology in the education sector, PM E-Vidya was also launched for the education purposes. Other initiatives include Festival Advance, New Leave Travel Concession, Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana to create new jobs, and rupees 1.46 lakh crores to 10 champion sectors like advanced electronic technology products, pharmaceutical drugs, cell chemistry, battery, telecom networks, etc. Were allocated. Rupees 18,000 crore additional outlay for PM Awas Yojana Urban. Rupees 900 crore provided for COVID Suraksha Mission for R&D in Indian COVID vaccine. Further, under this slogan, various sub-slogans also survives, like vocal for global, local for global were also echoed. And I think I hope you connect with certain states. So there is a concept of one district, one product. So there is a promotional scheme from at the state level that they have initiated the process of targeting or identifying the product of a district and promoting all the efforts to promote that product of that district. And interestingly, you have seen our Prime Minister visiting and meeting foreign dignitaries. So he is giving them gifts that are from a specific place of a specific nature. Then there is an interesting scheme that is called the National Food Security Mission, launched in 2007 as a centrally sponsored scheme, which was aimed to increase the annual production of rice, wheat, and pulses by 10, 8, and 2 million tons respectively by the end of 2011 and 12. By restoring soil fertility, improving farm level economy, expanding the area under cultivation, and fostering new employment avenues. From 2014 to 15, core cereals and commercial crops like sugarcane, cotton, and jute were also included in this mission, and this mission was extended to 2019 to 20. And new targets of achieving production of 13 million tons of additional food grain production are fixed. At present, this mission is being implemented in selected districts of 29 states of the country. And National Food Security Act, NAFSA 2013. So it made a provision to distribute subsidized food grain under the Targeted Public Distribution Scheme (TPDS) to 75% rural and 50% urban population. Identified householders are provided 5 kg food grains per person at a subsidized rate, like rice at the rate 3 per kg, wheat 2 rupees per kg, and coarse grain at rupees 1 per kg. There is another scheme that is called Antyodaya Anna Yojana. It gives 35 kg per family per month. This act also includes midday meal and integrated child development services. Pregnant women and lactating women and children in the age group of 6 months to 14 years are entitled to nutritious meals, and maternity benefit of not less than rupees 6,000 are given to pregnant women and lactating mothers. The ration card are in the name of eldest woman of the household of the age 18 years or above. There is a systematic grievance redressal mechanism at the district and state level, apart from social audits to ensure transparency and accountability. The states are not able to supply the entitled food grains to the beneficiaries. The Act makes the provision for food security allowance as well. In all state duties covering nearly 80.5 crore per person, then this scheme is active. Then there is another scheme that is called Smart City Mission of 2015 to enhance economic growth along with improving the quality of life of people living in cities through comprehensive work on physical, economic, social, and institutional pillar of the city. To promote and provide the core infrastructure like adequate water supply, sanitation, assured electricity supply, solid waste management, affordable housing, digitization, e-governance, sustainable environment, and safety of women, children, and elderly, health and education. 100 cities were to be selected based on two-step criteria. This is a centrally sponsored rupees 48,000 crore was sanctioned over the 5 years period. Smart command and control centers has been completed in 16 cities. Smart water, smart roads, smart solar have been completed in 24 cities, 23 cities, and 15 cities respectively. And the idea of a smart city includes smart government, smart health, smart mobility, smart retail, open data, Internet of Things, smart agriculture, smart home, education, smart grid, and smart technology. Then there is another scheme that is called Bharat Net or National Open Fiber Network (MOFN). So in this mission, connecting rural India with internet services, National Optical Fiber Network was launched in 2011 and renamed as a Bharat Net in 2015. This mission envisages connecting around 250,000 gram panchayat with a minimum of 100 Mbps bandwidth covering nearly 625,000 villages. Bharat Broadband Network Limited (BBNL) is the special purpose vehicle created as public sector undertaking PSU for the execution of MOFN to provide e-services and e-applications like e-health, e-education, etc. So far, 104,298 GPs Gram Panchayat Wi-Fi has been installed. This is and the length of optical fiber cable so far laid down up to December 2020 is 5,25,706 kilometers. So that's an interesting figure. So let's move to unit number 9. It is financial sector and fiscal sector reforms. As far as the financial sector is concerned, the major concern is regarding non-performing assets. So, banking sector was suffering from this issue. Their assets were under stress, and there was not much free hand to the banking system. Uh, Lucrative schemes were offered by the government, so banks had to suffer accordingly. Taxation system was so far rigid. There was a competition between same banks. Foreign players, if they were allowed, they were competing in a far better condition. They were doing comparatively better, and there was consideration for the ease of doing business too. Considering all these aspects in a favorable manner, there was a need to look for financial sector reforms or reforms in the fiscal policy in terms of taxation and other sources. So first, we talk about the banking sector reforms. So, in continuation of new economic policy of 1991, Narsimhan Committee was set up in 1991, and it focused on banking sector, and this he recommended certain reforms to revive the banking sector. And these banking sector reforms include the reduction of SLR, re-examination of direct credit programs. The banking structure of regulation is very rigid. Then establishment of hierarchy in the banking, a four-tier system, including the need to restructuring the banking. Then the bank should have general or universal banking, and they would have a network of branches throughout the country. The local banks whose operation would be confined to a specific region, the regional banks, including RRB, would be confined to rural. So they identify the banking reorganization, replacement also. So introduction of prudential norms and regulation. Then asset reconstruction fund to be established for the recovery of loans. This fund would be would take a portion of the bad and doubtful debts of the banks as a discount. Then end up the duality of a control and RBI should be the primary agency for the regulation of the banking system. To provide autonomy of the banks, the chief executive of the bank should be appointed based on professionalism and integrity, not on a political consideration. Banks can access the capital market and issue a fresh capital, so they have access to fund. Then the last one is the opening of foreign banks to open office in India, either as branches or as subsidiaries. In 1998, to review the progress of banking sector reforms and design a program to further strengthen the financial structure, technological upgradation, human resource development, capital adequacy norms, and bank mergers. Further, a committee was set up, and it is called the Narsimhan Committee Second. So it gives advocated for a stronger banking system, context of current account convertibility. It was advocated the revival of narrow banking concept, where weak banks would place their funds only in short term and risk-free assets like gold and securities. Setting up of a small local banks which would cater to the needs of the states or cluster of district to serve local trade, small industry, and etc. Banks should aim to reduce gross NPAs to 3% by 2002. So definitely the NPA was also consideration again here also. To improve the strength of Indian banking system, the government should raise capital adequacy ratio norms of 9% by 2000, 10% by 2002. Banks to give more autonomy and freedom in the recruitment of skill, especially manpower from the market. Rapid introduction of computerization and technology. And amendment in the Banking Regulation Act, Nationalization Act, and State Bank of India, RBI Act, Bank Nationalization Act to allow greater autonomy, higher private sector shareholding, and so on. In continuation, there were reforms in the financial sector. The government of India from time to time have been making certain reforms to financial sectors. One, you can see a Financial Stability and Development Council, FSDC. It was created in 2010 as an FX body non-statutory to promote financial sector development and strengthening the mechanism for maintaining financial stability. Merger of Forward Market Commission, FMC, with the SEBI. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So this new code aims at consolidating and amending laws relating to reorganization and resolution of corporate persons, individuals, and partnership forms in a time-bound manner, that is 180 days in case of companies. However, a subsequent Bankruptcy Code Amendment Act 2019 has amended the mandatory upper time limit to 330 days, which includes time spent in the various legal process to complete the resolution process. To promote entrepreneurship and availability of credit and balance the interest of all the stakeholders under the new code, the National Company Law Tribunal was also set up. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, amended in 2021, targeted the corporate persons classified as MSMEs to provide them with an efficient alternate insolvency resolution framework and to provide cost-effective, faster, and value-maximizing outcome for all the stakeholders. This is to done. This is to be done in such a manner which is least disruptive and preserve jobs as well. Banking Regulation Amendment Ordinance 2017, which provided specific provisions of 35AA, 35AB, and Section 35A. Now RBI is authorized for a lot of other activities for NPA resolution. The three major factors hurdles which solve the resolution process include: first, it is stopped free riding by lenders who did not participate in the resolution process. Second, compliance after an agreement has been sealed. Third, certify the process to alleviate fears of future investigation. Well, Banking Regulation Amendment Act 2020. This specifically giving some features for the cooperative banks. The cooperative bank now can issue equity shares, preference shares, or special shares to its members or to any other person residing within its own operational area. They can issue unsecured debentures or bonds with a maturity of 10 years or more to such persons with the prior approval of RBI. No person can demand payment towards the surrender of shares that are issued by the cooperative bank. Well, RBI may exempt the cooperative bank or a class of cooperative banks from a certain provision of the Act through notification. The cooperative banks cannot employ someone who is insolvent or has been convicted of crime. The RBI has the power to remove the chairman if she is not fit for the position and can appoint another person as chairman. Cooperative banks can make loan or advances on the security of their own shares. They cannot grant unsecured loans or advances to their directors or to private companies where the bank's director or chairman is an interested party. The Act has specified certain conditions under which unsecured loans or advances may be granted, and it specifies how these loans may be reported to RBI. The cooperative banks without prior approval of RBI cannot open a new place of business or change their location outside the city, town, or village in which it is currently located. The Act does not apply to primary agriculture credit societies, PACs, and cooperative and mortgage banks. Then there is as in continuation of previous reforms, there is reform in insurance sector also. One is Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. So it gives insurance cover of rupees 2 lakh at the premium of rupees 12 per annum, and it is automatically deducted. The population, the age group cover is 18 to 70, and so far the gross enrollment of this scheme is around 23.36 crore, and 45,600 claims has been disbursed under this scheme. Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. So it gives a life cover of 2 lakh to all subscribing bank account holders, and age group is 18 to 50, and it is offered by LIC and all other life insurers. A premium of Rs 330 per annum is auto debited in one installment from the subscriber bank account, and there are gross enrollment of rupees 10 amount number in the number 10 crore 10.32 crores is the gross enrollment, and 2,39,000 claims were disbursed under this scheme. Atal Pension Yojana. So this is the scheme to cater the unorganized sector like gardener, maids, and the fixed pension that was identified for them, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 per month from the age of 60,000. And interesting thing is that this scheme is applicable to avail the benefit. The scheme, the subscriber should not be part of any other social security scheme like EPF, etc. Ayushman Bharat scheme, Health and Wellness Center scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana scheme. Then there are tax reforms, Chelia Committee 1991. So it is appended in the form of appendix. Kilkar Committee 2000 for addressing direct tax. Kilkar Committee on Fiscal Consolidation in August 2012. The committee was constituted in the chairmanship of Dr. Vijay Kilkar, and they gave the roadmap for the fiscal consolidation. Direct tax reforms. Yeah, then introduction of GST. So GST is definitely previously a good number of taxes were there. They would bring down under the umbrella of single tax. Now one tax, one market, one nation is there. The salient features of the GST is it's a dual GST, namely central GST or SGST. They are various components, and it has got four rates: A5, 12, 18, and 28. And depending upon the consideration, they are restructured accordingly. There is a GST council that decides it, which has got certain invited members. So, there is an input tax credit benefit scheme, in which double taxation is avoided. So there are a good number of appendix are added here. So with this, I wish to conclude today's session. Namaskar.